voice sounds fine and shit, and then
Right.
go for it after that.
Well, testing now, so let's have a gander.
All right, I'm just waiting for it. Oh, wait, I can see it live. Let's have a look.
Right.
Looks okay, I think. Yep, sounds fine.
Yeah.
Yep. All good.
Buzzing. Wonderful. Are we ready to do this then? Hello everybody, welcome to AJ Sports Network. I'm Jay, joined by my host on the right hand side of me, Alex. Hello Alex.
Hey Jay, how you doing today?
Not too bad, yourself?
Not too bad. You know, end of the week, so all good.
All good. Right, so a little bit about us. We're going to be doing weekly, sometimes twice weekly shows, generally about football, Alex. Betting tips when we get a bit further into the season, reviews, previews, all that nonsense. Alex, you're a fan of a championship team.
I am a Reading fan, yeah, so not looking that optimistic for this season, to be honest. Got Paul Clement in charge. Started at the end of last season, just about stayed up. Summer business has been not great, to be honest. Signed John O'Shea, so I think that tells you everything you kind of need to know about Reading's summer signings.
Well, I can tell you a bit about my summer signings. Most expensive goalkeeper in the world, Alisson Becker, which we will be going into in a little bit later on our third topic of the show with transfers. But we're going to be kicking things off with what's just happened this past summer, Alex, and the World Cup, Russia. Who surprised you?
Who surprised me? Well, the obvious one for everybody is probably Germany. I mean, did anybody see Germany realistically getting knocked out in the group stages?
No. Well, if you went by the last couple of World Cups previous, then it would have been a really nice bet to put Germany getting knocked out of the group stage.
You were a fool to miss it, everybody.
Yeah.
The trends were there.
Yeah.
No, so Germany, I mean, yeah, Germany were the obvious ones. Did anybody else really surprise me? Not, to be honest. There was a couple of surprising results, I guess, but nobody really stood out as a massive surprise overall. I was a little bit disappointed with Brazil overall. I mean, they didn't ever really light the tournament up. I mean, Brazil has become a much more defensive team in the last few years, but even still, I was a bit disappointed with Brazil. And yeah, I'd say overall, not that many major surprises, even though there felt like there was a lot of surprises actually during the World Cup.
Yeah, Iceland with a 1-1 against Argentina just to sort of kick things off a little bit there. Other surprising results with
Japan beating Colombia was a good start to that group.
Yeah,
that was a very fun group to take watch of.
Are you going to say that's your favourite group of the tournament?
Oh, favourite group of the tournament? No, Argentina's group was probably my favourite.
Yeah.
It would have been nice to see Argentina get knocked out, but, you know, can't have it all, I guess. Well, do you think that's Messi's last World Cup, Jay?
Probably. It has to be, considering he retired after the last one. Was it the last one or the last sort of...
I think it was the last Copa America?
The last Copa America then, yeah. So he obviously doesn't like losing, bless him, does he?
He doesn't seem to like losing at all, unfortunately.
Well, I'm not being funny, but they didn't take Mauro Icardi. Mauro Icardi is regularly top 2 or 3 top goal scorer in Serie A.
But the reasoning behind Icardi not going is Messi and him don't get along.
Exactly.
And
so surely
the team is built around Leo Messi.
Well,
so
that's where they go wrong, isn't it, Alex?
A little bit, unfortunately. I think
a team should be built the best team for the situation, not the best team for Messi's friends.
So talking of the best team for the situation, France is definitely one of those teams which played to the situation in every match.
Yeah, 100%. And I was saying the other day that I fully believe France are going to go on to dominate for the next 10 years. They're going to be the Brazil of the 70s, I think, now.
You would think so. I mean, Mbappe, Griezmann, Pogba, even Lloris to an extent is still fairly young. That team of, although it's very talented, it's not an old team. There's a lot of youngsters in there still.
Yeah. Yeah. And also one player that we haven't really mentioned, was he even at the World Cup? Dembele for France.
Dembele, yeah, he was at the World Cup for France. Did he really make an impact? Not really.
Not really.
I mean, Mbappe, I think he got 1 or maybe 2 goals.
I'm looking at stats now. Apparently, he played 4 games, no goals, no assists.
Well, that's me completely wrong then. I thought he'd scored against Argentina, but clearly not. No, so didn't really make that much of an impact.
No.
I believe his appearances were mainly off the bench, though.
Yeah, it doesn't say here where they were off the bench. So if they were off the bench, and you can sort of cut him a bit of slack at 21 years old. He's got Mbappe in front of him and Griezmann and the likes. So next tournament, the Euros, Dembele, Kylian. I highly doubt Mr. No Shots on Target Olivier Giroud will be the next tournament.
I would be very surprised if he makes the next tournament. I think he's going to take his take his World Cup winners medal right off into the sunset. Thank you very much. I think that's probably him done with international football.
I'd be really surprised to see if there's any other strikers who've won a World Cup medal who have played every game or most games and not had a shot on target.
So I think my singular favourite moment of the World Cup, which was outside of an actual match, was with Olivier Giroud in this tournament. So they've just won the World Cup final.
Yep.
Giroud has come off during the game. He's run back onto the field at the end of the game and starts to celebrate with his teammates, obviously.
Yeah.
And a ball rolls across the field, as it does at the end of the game. There's, all sorts of stuff going on. Giroud's about 25 yards out, hits it first time with his right foot, smashes it straight into the post.
Fantastic.
Pretty much summed his entire tournament up. Pretty much summed it up.
That's wonderful. I didn't see that. Okay, if we're going for sort of favourite moments of the of our World Cup that weren't... Well, it was on pitch, that's a lie, it was on the pitch. It was after,
it was on the pitch, yeah. It was just after the final whistle,
It was on the pitch. No, this was after a goal had been scored when Michy Batshuayi decided to try and smash it into the net after Belgium had scored. Smashed the was it the crossbar it cracked?
No, smashed straight off the post in front of him.
Straight off the post. So yeah,
that was a slightly different celebration to the myriad of Fortnite celebrations that we managed to see in this World Cup.
Yeah, surely Fortnite should be asking for a bit of compensation, shouldn't they, for all the Fortnite's moves they've stolen?
I would expect to see that one come into Fortnite very soon.
Yeah. So the hosts, Russia. They surprised me. They were one of my surprising teams, because they did go into the tournament the worst ranked team, but that's obviously because they were hosting the tournament and similar things happened because they played no competitive games. But we all expected them to be Group A's whipping boys and to finish
outside Saudi Arabia, maybe.
Outside Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, I think most people were looking at Egypt to get that qualifying spot.
Yeah. But they really did shock us, and whether it was because they're on the home stage and didn't want to be shot by Putin for messing it up.
He did not look very impressed, I have to say, during that final presentation once it started raining.
No, definitely.
He was not impressed at all.
Definitely not.
Russia did. They provided us with some good performances. I feel for a host nation, they definitely didn't disgrace themselves in any way.
No.
I mean, I don't really feel like Russia ever actually played particularly well in any of their games, really. Saudi Arabia just kind of rolled over and died against them. They were shockingly bad, Saudi Arabia, in their first opening match. And as soon as Russia had won that match by such a large scoreline, it pretty much handed that group's
Uruguay.
Yeah, it handed the group to Uruguay straight away, because Russia knew that as long as they didn't lose to Egypt, they were pretty much through.
Yeah.
And Egypt really was on the back foot straight away in that group, unfortunately for them. I mean, another team which kind of shocked me was Croatia. Probably not in the sense that they got to the final. I mean, given their route to the final, it wasn't an extremely difficult side of a draw, as everybody in England probably realised. It was quite an easy side of a draw. It was more the way that Croatia did it, which was quite shocking for me. They fell behind in multiple games. And as much as people said that their midfield is the best midfield in the tournament, which perhaps it is the best midfield, but for them to have fallen behind in multiple knockout games, and have to come back every time, it was surprising that they managed to do that. I don't think any team has really won 3 games after 90 minutes like that in a World Cup before.
No. So, Luka Modric, we were saying the other day, if Croatia had come back from when they were 4-2 down to win the tournament, Luka Modric would have been getting the Ballon d'Or trophy in January, wouldn't he?
You'd imagine so. Just to throw it in there with his Champions League medal, his World Cup winners medal, everything else he's managed to achieve in the game in the last 5 years. Yeah, he would have walked away with the Ballon d'Or if Croatia had won the tournament.
Sensational player. And people talked when Ronaldo was at Madrid about Ronaldo being the main man there, and probably he was, but I don't think that Real Madrid team is anything without Modric making it tick.
Yeah, I feel like Luka Modric is definitely the wheel which keeps them spinning.
Yeah.
In that side, they can survive without Ronaldo. They can survive without a Bale. I mean, clearly they can survive without Bale. But if they lose a Modric in midfield, they don't tend to be able to control games like you think a Real Madrid team should be able to.
So, give me prediction for next tournament, European Championships. Who wins it?
The European Championships will be won in 2020 by France beating England in the final.
Oh, wouldn't it be special?
At Wembley.
At Wembley.
At Wembley, England will get beaten by France.
Imagine football sort of came home against France though in a Wembley final.
God, the depression would be real, wouldn't it? What do you reckon for 2020?
For 2020,
let's go past 2020. What do you think for 2022?
France
again.
France
okay.
Again. Yeah.
Some real domination then by France, pretty much.
Because you've got some top defenders that we saw in this World Cup. You've got Lucas, and you've got the young right back.
Pavard.
Yeah, Pavard, he was fantastic, and he ended up actually winning World Cup goal of the tournament with that sensational strike.
Cracking strike against Argentina.
So, we haven't spoken about them yet, but now we are going to move on to
Panama. Fantastic.
What we're going to be moving on to is England. Was that not what you wanted?
Well, it's not an exciting topic anymore, is it? Let's be honest.
No.
No one really wants to talk about England. It was Let's be real. It was a good tournament for England. Was it a great tournament for England?
No, it wasn't a great tournament, but
Probably
we
not.
exceeded expectations. I think last 16, you go out against Colombia. I mean, Colombia are a good side. If he says to you, you're going to be in the quarter, you're going to be in the last 16 against Colombia, you'd have flipped a coin, because Colombia are a good team, and England in World Cup knockout games, that's what I'm saying, World Cup knockout games, not in a group match, but in a World Cup knockout match where England struggle, England could have gone either way.
Could have gone either way. I think without James, England would have been disappointed to lose to Colombia there in the knockout stage, to be honest. They did exceed expectations by getting to the semi-finals, and I think realistically they kind of threw it away, in all honesty, in the semis.
Yeah.
The place was, it wasn't pretty much theirs, but they had opportunities. So it was disappointing. Player-wise, I don't really think any of the England players had a standout tournament going forwards, particularly. They really struggled to create chances. I mean, that's pretty much evident by the fact I think England had 6 shots on target the entire tournament, which is as low as Saudi Arabia. So it wasn't a great tournament for England going forwards. We were fantastic at set pieces, which I will give Gareth Southgate a massive amount of credit for.
Yeah.
I know he did a lot of work with, I believe it was the Los Angeles Rams in the NFL, and he went out and watched them practice a couple of times before the World Cup at the end of last year in 2017. And you can really, you can tell that he's picked stuff up from watching NFL practices when you watch England take a corner.
Yeah.
Players like Sterling, he's not going to provide an aerial threat, Sterling, but he's definitely a distraction in the box.
Yeah.
And he will make a run. He will pull a defender away. He'll put himself in the blocking area of a bigger defender who's meant to be marking a Kane or a Maguire. So you can tell that they've really worked in set pieces, and that was pretty pleasing to watch. Who stood out for you most?
Probably looking at Harry Maguire. Harry Maguire, I think, for a first tournament, he's not even played in the Euros previous. He's played in a couple of qualifying games, I think, under Gareth Southgate. But other than that, nothing. Comes into a tournament, straight into the World Cup squad, and didn't disgrace himself.
No, definitely didn't.
And was I think he was probably up there with. I think he was probably our best player, actually. I think he was, because Harry Kane, even though he got the goals, was poor.
Yeah, I would be surprised if many England fans could come out and say Harry Kane had a good World Cup, despite the fact he was top scorer.
Dele Alli was disappointing. I think it'll be people are disappointed in Dele Alli. Lingard surprised me in a good way. Dyer was poor when he came on.
Yes, Dyer wasn't great when he came on at all. I think he was very overrun, and that kind of speaks to Southgate's tactical awareness as well. I feel like a lot of the time when Dyer was coming on, he was basically being thrown into the deep end and left to kind of like swim around on his own, and in central midfield he was getting overrun.
I was also pleasantly surprised by, even though he only had to make 2 saves and a penalty save as well, pleasantly surprised by Jordan Pickford, because in the whole run up to the tournament, I was saying Jack Butland number 1, Jack Butland number 1. Even though he was in a relegation season with Stoke,
Pickford definitely, he proved his spot. It's his spot to lose now, wearing the number 1 shirt for sure.
Yeah,
Butland is going to have to come out and actually earn a shot at the number 1.
Yeah. So, who will not, because it's a very young squad, so you'd expect most of the lads to be there at the next one. Who will not be making the next Euro squad for you?
For the Euros?
Yeah, we'll say Euros.
There's definitely a few of them you can pretty much write off straight away. So I would be very surprised to see Nick Pope go.
Yeah.
Gary Cahill.
Yeah.
Ashley Young. Probably Delph. Realistically.
He realistically could have. What Southgate should have said is, yeah, lad, you go home and see your baby. Don't bother getting a return ticket. You're not needed.
It was unfortunate. I mean, England were very unfortunate, to be honest, that Oxlade-Chamberlain was injured.
Yeah, I think
he really was a missing piece in midfield. Yeah. In all honesty, he would have provided a really nice complement to Henderson in midfield. Jamie Vardy is probably on the edge for the Euros, I would suggest. And then Welbeck is done as an England player.
Yeah.
And frankly, Welbeck's probably done as a Premier League player. So
after that was another favourite bit of the tournament for me. Was it against Sweden or Croatia or someone? When there's a corners come in. No, it's a quick free kick, I think, from over near the corner flag. Danny Welbeck thinks he's in front of the goal. He's about 10 yards closer to the throw-in touchline than he is to the goal. Takes a left swipe at it. Hits it well, but it's nowhere near the target. But he thinks he's about to wheel away in celebration, the lad, because he thinks he stood in front of the goal. Like, it's just amateurish.
Premier League clubs do not sign Danny Welbeck. He's not a Premier League player anymore.
Has he ever been a Premier League player?
I don't know. Like, who knows? He's never really held down a first team spot particularly anywhere, in my view. I mean, talking of other strikers, I was, to be honest, disappointed but not surprised by Rashford, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
To me, it feels like people were clamouring for Rashford to come on and replace Sterling a lot of the time. But actually, whenever Rashford came onto the field, I didn't really see or understand what he actually did or brought to the team. And I know a lot of people said he runs a lot, he tries hard, but I don't, I want a player who actually produces and does something sometimes rather than just I just didn't really understand the hype behind Rashford. And I think had he not scored that goal against, was it Nigeria in the preseason, in the friendly before the World Cup, I would be very surprised if he had got anywhere near the level of hype that he got going into that World Cup.
Do you think he's overrated in general?
It's difficult to say. He doesn't get enough game time at Man United, particularly, I don't think. How can you judge a player who's getting 10 minutes here, a game there? Like, when's he ever had a proper run of half a season in the Man United team? He's been in and around the squad for what, a season and a half, 2 years now? Since Van Gaal was there.
2 years. It's been 2 years, I know.
And to me, it feels like he's never really had like a solid set of, 4 or 5 months starting games for Man United where you can sit there and you can go, Rashford is a consistent Premier League forward. It never feels like he's had that. And I don't really see how you're able to fully judge him.
Yeah, and I think we were about Sterling then and people clamouring for him to replace Sterling. He got such unnecessary stick for his performances at the World Cup and was so undeservedly low on the end of World Cup ratings for the England team, because when Sterling played, he was stretching defences. That's what Sterling was there to do, make the runs, stretch the defences, and that showed against Sweden. Sweden could not deal with his runs.
He would have been had he scored his one-on-one against Sweden. I know he didn't, but had he scored his one-on-one against Sweden, I think he had 2 in fact.
Yeah, one was offside.
He would have been one was offside. Yeah, thank you. He would have been man of the match if he'd scored his one-on-one.
Yeah.
That's how good he played. That's how well he played in that game. There would have been no doubt about it. He would have been man of the match. He didn't score his one-on-one, and he gets slated. And I know players have to, produce the goods, but I feel like there was plenty of other players in that team who didn't produce, and you didn't see the level of like social media just raining down on them.
So going back to just a little bit more about England, just a nice little stat for everybody before we head on to the transfer window. While Jordan Henderson was on the pitch, England were never in a losing position.
Congratulations to Jordan Henderson. That is one trophy you will be able to hold forever.
Right, so
I'm sure Liverpool fans will be delighted with that. Get behind him next season. So
yeah. So you genuinely think England next tournament Euros finalists against France?
Why not?
Why not?
Like, why not?
Why not? Right. Go. We're now going to move on.
So you still can't get past Henderson, can you?
No. Right. Right. We're now going to be moving on to what has been an already unbelievable transfer window, and that all started with Mr. Cristiano Ronaldo. Alex,
this wasn't surprising. I'm sorry, guys. It was not surprising at all. Ronaldo has been rumoured to leave Real Madrid for 2 years now. The only thing that's surprising about it is where he's gone, to me.
Yeah.
Juventus seem to have basically decided out of the blue that they need Ronaldo.
Yeah.
And to me, the reason they signed Ronaldo is so they can win the Champions League. That's it.
If they wanted to, like, Ronaldo's been wanting to move for a couple of years. If they wanted to win it that bad, why not just let Gigi win it with them? Why not get him last season?
Money.
How good are you for Gigi Buffon? Now the Juventus probably going to go on and win the Champions League this season.
Well, I mean, they're not even favourites. They've got a better chance with Ronaldo, I guess. How gutted am I for Buffon? I don't know. Not that gutted. No, Buffon kind of disgraced himself at the end of last season. He was disappointing.
He's going to go down as a legend, though. Well, he's not even.
Oh, he will.
No doubt. He's a PSG, isn't he? So
no doubt the guy's going to go down as a legend.
So,
but it was just unfortunate to see such a kind of like petty end to his career with Juventus.
But going on about Gigi winning the Champions League, he could do with PSG. And I'm here thinking, oh, bless him. He's not. It's doubtful, but Mbappe, Neymar, now Buffon, a top goalkeeper between the sticks. But back to Ronaldo, right?
Back to Ronaldo.
Yeah, back to Ronaldo. In his fitness test he did with Juventus, they said he had the body of a person in his mid-20s. So
that's so depressing.
I'm 26, and I have got the fitness of a man in his late 40s. So when you look at him, and he's got the body of somebody younger than you, when he's 9 years older than you.
Good job, Ronaldo.
Yeah.
Thank you for showing 99.9% of the population up there.
Yeah. So it's going to offer a lot. Do you think it's going to offer different to Juventus what he offered to Madrid? Because he was the main man at Madrid. And is he still 100%?
Say that again, please, Joe.
Right, not a problem. I know
he was the main man.
Yeah. I says, do you think he's going to offer Juventus what he offered in the same way as he offered Real Madrid?
Probably. He's probably going to be the main man at Juventus, you'd imagine. A combination of him and Dybala, though. Will he be the main man on his own?
that just sounds tasty. That link up between C-Ron and Dybala.
They're going to be very powerful up front, aren't they?
Yeah. Rumours of Higuain going to Chelsea in real life, so obviously they're trying to get shut of him.
Well, do they really need him? It could be argued as a third choice striker.
But they've got Super Mario Mandzukic as well.
Exactly.
So Ronaldo, is he going to be? Do you think we'll see any bigger transfers than him in this window?
No.
Money-wise, I mean, not reputation. So when we're looking at Hazard,
no, I don't think so. No, I don't think so. I guess Hazard maybe Hazard, but I think it'll be close.
Yeah.
I mean, there hasn't really been. I know rumours have been abound about Hazard. Your room is just falling to pieces there.
Yeah, my room's having an absolute.
And yeah, I know there's been rumours about Hazard going to Real Madrid, but there hasn't been that many rumours about pricing yet. I would suggest it's maybe 120. But how are you meant to judge market nowadays? It's very difficult to work that kind of thing out when the market is so crazy for these top end players.
Yeah. So we can go on to. I'm gonna have to sort my room out, aren't I? Apologies, viewers, but my setup is falling apart. Apologies.
This is the height of professionalism, everybody. If you watch here as the set magically reappears back to life. You don't get this with Sky Sports, everybody. Gary Neville, he's got himself a solid green screen. Jamie Carragher doesn't need a green screen. He's just got himself a tactics board. On the other hand here, AJ Sports Network, Jay has himself a green sheet which he has seemingly pinned to his wall. It's not quite the... it's not quite Sky Sports or ESPN, but we'll get there, I'm sure. Hopefully he's fixed it and we're back. And we'll see if he pulls it. We'll see if he pulls it apart again.
Right, let's have a look. Are we done? Back on. Oh.
I think we're looking good there now.
Not as good as before because now I'm looking a bit dodgy.
He's looking a bit dishevelled, but we're back.
Right. As
I was saying, Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher don't have these issues, but
no,
we'll get there.
We do. We will.
We'll get there.
So
moving on.
Moving on to
I can't.
The most expensive goalkeeper to ever make a transfer from one club to another. Alisson Becker, our holy grail, the position Liverpool have needed since Pepe Reina's glory days had been and gone.
Is he worth the money to Liverpool?
If you're going to get if you get a striker who scores the important goals, would you pay £60 million for him?
Yes, you would.
If you need a goalkeeper who's going to make the important saves in a game, would you pay £60 million for him?
Yes, you would. But is he the goalkeeper that's going to make those important saves?
Statistically, the best goalkeeper in Europe last season.
There you go then. That's a pretty good indictment, really, for him.
A very good sweeper keeper. Brilliant with his feet, like Pepe was. Both sweeper keepers broke. So yeah, I think I've got friends in work who big City fan, and obviously they got Edison last year, but he said now, like last season, nobody was outstanding really apart from City and Liverpool at times. I'm not saying they had a brilliant season, but Liverpool were unplayable at times for teams.
In some games.
That's what I'm saying. At times in some games.
Yeah.
And he said to me the day after we signed him, he said, "I genuinely now fear that Liverpool are going to challenge us right till the day, right till the end of the season."
I mean, we're going to discuss it later on in terms of the Premier League season next year, but I think Liverpool are still a little bit behind City in terms of getting that final piece of the puzzle.
Mm. So, Alison Becker, welcome to Liverpool. Hope you win us many points. Next is our arch rivals, Manchester United. They've signed this chap, Fred, played in Ukraine for Shakhtar Donetsk. Alex, what would you like to tell us about Fred?
I would love to tell you something about Fred, but I don't know anything about him. It's just like very simple. I don't really know anything about Fred at all. I do know that United transfer dealings look a bit crap, in all honesty.
They've signed Fred. They've got Diego Dalot from Porto.
You signed a defender. I think he's a right back, I want to say.
Yeah, right back.
And you've signed Fred. Okay. And now they've been linked with Harry Maguire for 65 million.
Mm.
Good job, guys. We all know how Karol Poborski worked out for you. And they've been linked with Rebic as well. So United have basically been linked with two players who've had excellent World Cups and seemingly are about to pay well over £100 million between them for those two players. This wouldn't have happened when Ferguson was manager, would it?
No, it wouldn't. And by the way, saw a video from Fergie today, so he is on the mend, which is great news. So yeah. Anyway, but yeah, Fred. No, it wouldn't have happened back in Fergie's days when he was managing.
It does seem that United just don't really have any kind of there's no long-term strategies, no long-term transfer plans with them.
No,
they just seem to get to a transfer window and go, oh, we need a striker, we need a winger, and they just pick and choose when they get there, who's on form and who's looking good. It doesn't seem like there's any courting of the player or anything like that.
No, it's not like the chairman said to at the beginning of the season, right? We're going to close the checkbook up a little bit now, and we want you to start bringing some lads in youth, or we want you to maybe sign some people who you've scouted well and could offer something to the team. Maybe not the immediate first team, but the squad and future may offer something to the first team and spend not ridiculous amounts of money on them. Or you could have gone and said, right, checkbook's open, 100%, you spend what you want on players. And if that is the case, he's chosen Fred.
Yeah, I agree. I don't like that. We don't know what Mourinho's budget is, but seemingly, if United are going out to try and sign Maguire, Rebic, then they can't have a blank chest. They don't have an empty war chest. There must be some money there.
Yeah.
But I don't understand why they're signing players who've kind of been. I mean, yeah, like we said, Maguire was very good for England.
Also fills the homegrown quota as well for the Champions League.
He does fill the homegrown quota, but I just don't feel like he was. It just doesn't feel like he's really a top 6 player immediately. So look how long. I mean, one of the players we're about to discuss in a moment has sat there at Leicester for the best part of 3 years after winning the league. Maguire's had realistically he's had 1 season with Leicester, I think. Maybe 2 seasons with Leicester, but 1 good season. I think he was player of the season for Leicester last year. Is that really enough for you to jump up and be a first teamer at a club which is meant to be challenging for the league? I don't know, maybe it is, but
it's always going to be to be fair, if if he was Italian playing in the Italian league, United wouldn't be paying £65 million for him. They'd be paying £30 million for him. It is obviously just the English player premium, isn't it? That is up to his price of £65 million.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, there we go. £30 million player from anywhere else in the world, but because he's English, double it.
Exactly.
So, moving on to... we're going down to London. I've got my slideshows, slide images in the wrong order. So, we're going to go to Chelsea before we go to Manchester City.
It's a long trip down south.
It is.
Down south.
Right.
So,
Chelsea.
Jorginho seems like not a sympathy buy, but he seems like a manager purchase. Is that the right term?
Yeah. I'd say that. It's a case of
Sarri has come in and said, "I'm not joining unless Jorginho is there."
Yeah, and they've gone and spent a lot of money on him for a player that Abramovich wanted Sarri, so it's probably a case of anything Sarri wants, Sarri can have, really.
It's very much the spoilt kid.
It is,
isn't it? Let's be honest.
It is.
Chelsea do have had their fair share of managers like that, though, so it can't be that surprising, I guess.
Turn out, well, the signing another central midfielder. They've got Kante, they've got Cesc, they've got Drinkwater, not first team, obviously, and now they're going to be signing. Well, they have signed Jorginho when they know pretty much 99% that Hazard and Williams going to be both leaving. So why are they spending? Well, we know we've just said why we think they're spending that much money on Jorginho, but surely there needs to be money going into the wide players now to replace the outgoing Hazard and Williams.
Maybe Chelsea are planning on playing three-man central midfield, no wide players at all. Maybe they're going to play wing backs, similar to how England played at the World Cup.
Yeah, maybe so.
I mean, it's going to be difficult to see. I don't know that much about what Sarri's tactics are like from Serie A, to be honest. But if he plays with, three centre backs, three central midfielders, then maybe the signing makes sense. But
he plays with. I know he plays with wingers, and he played with a sort of high tempo, high velocity pressing attack. Because he had out wide, he played Dries Mertens up front, but he had Lorenzo Insigne out wide, and I think he played with three in the middle as well: Hamšík, Jorginho, and one other. But
in that case, it feels like maybe Chelsea are missing. They're going to be missing a piece next season.
And we discussed this pre-show as well, so we'll discuss that right at the end of the show with the Premier League section, because I think we are. I think we both know what's going to happen to Chelsea come this season.
Potentially, we will discuss that later on. We're going back up north.
Now we've gone all the way back up north to Manchester, and it's Riyad Mahrez who's come in for a hefty £61 million price as what is going to be no more than a squad rotation player.
He is behind a lot of players at City. He's probably behind David Silva. He's probably behind Sai. He's probably behind De Bruyne, Sterling, Fernandinho. Even I know he's a defensive midfielder. Gundogan. Pep Guardiola does realise that only 11 players can be on the field at once, doesn't he?
Well, sometimes teams who are playing City, I think they feel that there is more than 11 City players on the pitch, but that's not actually the case.
It might feel like that, but of course, yes, City are that good that it probably does feel like you're playing against a whole squad of players most of the time. Yeah, to me, this transfer seems to have been on the cards for well over a year. And Mahrez has pretty much orchestrated this move himself. So it's not that surprising a transfer. I'm more surprised that Manchester City have wanted to sign him. Yeah. I don't really feel like he adds that much in terms of. He doesn't seem to. I don't think he has that much in talent to their actual. He's not going to improve their squad. He's more. I think he's more going to keep them where they are than actually push them forwards.
Mahrez, with his season at Leicester in the title-winning season, was absolutely phenomenal and deserved that trophy along with Vardy that year because they were both of them sensational. But Mahrez last year off the pace a little bit, probably because he was moaning in pre-season about not getting moves that he wanted, and he's followed into the season. And then, but he for me, he wasn't the player that he was when Leicester won it.
Was he ever going to be? I mean, that season was pretty much his. Realistically, that was probably Mahrez's peak season, along with Vardy. They're probably not going to get a better season than that in football. And to be honest, I kind of disagree. I feel like Mahrez did play well last season. He didn't play to the same heights he did when Leicester won the league, but he had a reasonable season. Did he have a season which is going to get him a move to Barcelona, Real Madrid, Man City, Bayern Munich, Juventus? Not really. I feel like he's probably dining on past glory a little bit with this move to Man City, but Man City have picked him up, so, all power to him.
Yeah, watch him knock David Silva out the squad next year.
Yeah, David Silva will be taking his place on the bench probably, now we've said that, and...
He's going to embarrass us all, get the most assists, most goals, and be Ballon d'Or winner come 2020. Right.
Fantastic.
Right, Midlands now. With Nuno of Wolverhampton Wanderers building something extremely special at the Wolves.
I've got to take exception to building something extremely special here. He's basically building the Portuguese national team, but in Wolverhampton.
Yeah.
And whilst this is excellent news for Wolves, because coming from where they were 2 years ago, they now have signed Rui Patricio, Raul Jimenez, who isn't Portuguese but Mexican, on loan. João Moutinho, a fantastic signing. Who else have they had? Jota, Willy Bolly, Leo Bonatini. They signed a lot of players. The main question is, will that be enough for them to finish in the top half of the table?
Yes.
Unequivocally, yes.
Unequivocally, Wolverhampton Wanderers minimum 10th next season.
I heard it here first. I will reserve judgment a little bit. I don't think Wolves. Whilst they've signed some great players, there's every chance that Wolves could just end up being mid-table and end up 14th, 15th.
Well,
are they that much better than, say, I don't know, Newcastle or Crystal Palace?
Yeah, better than Crystal Palace.
Are they better than Newcastle, West Ham? West Ham. Ignore West Ham.
Yeah.
Ignore West Ham. But are they better than Leicester?
I would say they're better than Newcastle, because Newcastle this window have done nothing, where Wolves are building and building and building, and they've got a lot of players they've signed this season were loanees from last season, so that it's not like the new players coming to the team needing to gel with each other. It's players who were there last year and have now fully signed for them. So if it was the case of,
it's evolution, not revolution.
Yeah. If it was the case of Diego Jota and Leo Bonatini and not being there last season on loan and them all joining this season, then I think I could probably agree with you, maybe giving it a while, see if they gelled. But knowing what they did last season, they're already gelled, they already know each other, and they're going to go into the year and smash it, I think.
Now, don't get me wrong, I don't want Wolves to do badly. I work with a Wolves fan at work, and between him and myself, we've both managed to get a bet on against a Watford fan at work that Wolves will finish above Watford. So come on, Wolverhampton. That made me feel dirty just saying that. Let's move on.
Okay. Now we're on to West Ham United.
West Ham are exciting.
West Ham are exciting. And luckily for us, we get them on the first game of the season.
The real, I just don't know how exciting you can be with David Moyes.
Well, David Moyes isn't the manager.
That's a good point, so it doesn't really matter. I completely forgot that David Moyes had been sacked. Ignore me. Ignore me completely.
Nearly as good as my green screen falling down.
Ignore me completely. They've made some exciting signings, haven't they?
Pellegrini.
Of course, I knew that. This was a test.
You was testing me to see if I knew who he was.
No. That's completely gone over my head. Yarmolenko looks like a fantastic signing for me. I think he may be one of the signings of the summer in the Premier League. And frankly, I'm amazed he has stayed at Borussia Dortmund so long. I know they're a European club and they're a Champions League club, but they are not. I don't think Borussia Dortmund are really classed as a top tier club in Europe. And I mean, whilst West Ham aren't either, it surprises me that he hasn't moved on to, other things, other places apart from Dortmund. I'm very excited to see Yarmolenko play.
I'm also excited to see the other wing that you've got in from Lazio, and that is Anderson.
Yes, Anderson will be an exciting addition to that West Ham squad for sure. It does look like the West Ham owners are maybe coming through on their promise of we are actually going to put money into the team now that we've moved stadiums.
Yeah.
With West Ham, the problem I always find with West Ham is that things blow up very easily with them. They'll lose a game which they shouldn't have lost against a smaller team, and their season seems to just implode around them.
Yeah.
And they don't know what to do. The fans end up turning on the manager. The manager gets sacked. It's something we've seen with West Ham plenty of times before. The manager will get sacked. West Ham will just about stay up, and we'll go into the same cycle again next season with West Ham. Everybody will get excited coming into the season because West Ham have made 5 signings because it's a new manager again. And we'll just end up saying these same things about West Ham next season, potentially.
Yeah.
What's different about Pellegrini that we won't see that happen?
He's not David Moyes. He's not.
Racking your brains here for old West Ham managers.
He's not Sam Allardyce. He's not. Who was the manager before Moyes? Slaven Bilic. He's not Slaven Bilic.
There we go.
He's Pellegrini, who has managed Manchester City to a
Premier League title.
So there we go with that one. Go on.
I'd like to see West Ham actually do it before I get overly excited about West Ham.
Well,
whilst I can't wait to see their players, I'd like to see them actually do it on the field.
Yeah, well, you'll be able to see them against Liverpool opening day. Well, not opening day of the season, but
opening weekend of the season,
weekend, which I'm quite apprehensive about. I'm moving on. I think this is probably our final slide. It is our final slide. It's Richarlison. Yay! Yay! The power shift on Merseyside is well and truly underway.
This is a big signing. I mean,
in terms of
in terms of money, this is a big signing. Everton have spent. I read this stat the other day that Everton has now spent in the past 2 years £250 million.
And between...
I get that you have new owners, Evertonians, but you've spent £250 million on literally nobody good.
Sandro?
They've spent £250 million to finish 7th again. I don't get it. I don't understand how Richarlison improves their team. The problem that they lack at Everton is they have no striker and they have no centre backs. Oh, sorry, they have Michael Keane, but they have nobody to play alongside Michael Keane.
It was poor at Everton.
He was poor at Everton because he was great in a unit at Burnley, and he left Burnley and has shown that actually he was probably better in that unit, not necessarily the best player on his own.
Yeah.
It probably doesn't help that he's got Ashley Williams alongside him, who clearly is past it, and frankly, Everton should have replaced him a long time ago. But Everton basically have a great midfield. They have so many attacking threats in midfield, but they have nobody up front. Why have Everton not gone out and signed a £50 million striker instead of signing a player who's had 3 good months in the Premier League?
Yeah, all those months came before Christmas. 5 goals and all of his assists came before Christmas. So
Watford must be absolutely pissing themselves.
What Watford said when this is the conversation that was had. Mashiri went to Watford, manager, chairman, or what's his face? Marco Silva went back to his old stomping ground and went, "Hey up, I want to buy Richarlison. How much is it going to cost me?" And then how
has Marco Silva managed to pick himself up a Scouse accent in the in the couple of months he's been there?
Okay. Hello. I was just wondering how much Richarlison would cost Everton if I wish to buy him. I don't know what accent that is either, so I'm going to stop doing the accents. And the Watford chairman says back to him, £15 million. And so, he's gone back down to Everton and gone, Mashiri, the lads down at Watford have just told us it's going to cost £50 million to sign Richarlison. What should we do? And they said, oh yeah, we'll sign on the dotted line on that one. They've clearly misheard them say 15 million, and Watford have decided not to correct them on it.
Not to correct them at all. £15 million, just to put this into perspective, £15 million would still have been a 50% profit in 1 year for Watford.
Yeah.
They have made 500% in a year on Richarlison, who's had 3 good months. Unless Everton change their transfer policy, there is no chance that they will ever break into a top 6 spot and be there as a consistent contender. Because frankly, they're playing. They make transfers like idiots. You've wanted a new stadium for how long? 10, 20 years, something like that. £250 million. It will pay for most of a new stadium.
Yeah.
And I get this planning commission, blah 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 in Liverpool, but all the same, you've spent all this money. You could have basically bought a stadium by now, transferred it. You could have bought a stadium brick by brick, moved it to Liverpool, built the stadium, be playing in your new stadium, and instead you have Ashley Williams playing in centre defence. And you're going to get beaten by Liverpool twice again this season. So,
well, that's a jinx for me now, isn't it? If we don't beat Everton twice this season, I'm coming to find where you live, Alex.
Fantastic.
Right. And that is the end of our transfer roundup. Which
hang on. We've missed a player here. So John O'Shea did sign for Reading, and I don't think you've actually mentioned him yet. So
right, okay. John O'Shea, the Republic of Ireland 83-year-old, has joined for Reading to shore up the defence, and
let's move on.
Anyway, we're moving on to
The Premier League.
Premier League. Well,
season 18-19.
There we go. I'm on it. 18-19, yes. Premier League. I believe you've got. This is a forewarning now. I hope you have. You're getting this. You're getting the odds up on you, Alex.
That was definitely a. Should have pre-warned me here. So yeah, I've got the odds up here for the Premier League season. So obviously, the favourites are the blue side of Manchester again.
Yeah.
And you can get 1.73 for Manchester City to retain the Premier League. Liverpool, second favourites, coming in at 5.5. Then you've got United, Chelsea, Spurs, and Arsenal rounding out the top 6 at 25-1. Do you see any team apart from City being able to win the Premier League realistically? Or are City too far ahead?
Right. I'm just going to sound biased. This is why I should not support a top tier club. I should go elsewhere. I'll come support Reading with you, Alex, and celebrate John O'Shea. But I think that the closest
that wasn't nice.
I think the closest challenges the City will have this year, and this isn't me saying this, is people of rival clubs saying it to me, also saying Liverpool are going to be our closest challenges this year, and I really believe that. Now our problem for the last couple of seasons is goalkeepers. As you know, our very, very near title winning season, we had Simon Mignolet in net, and that just wasn't great, and he cost us the league that season. Alex,
there we go. I'm back.
There we go. Were you hearing what I was saying? Because it was interesting.
No, not really. Sorry.
Right.
So I'm sure someone heard it.
Right.
I heard you celebrating John O'Shea.
John O'Shea. Yeah. Basically, I said, it's going to sound bad because I should basically start supporting a lower league tier, a lower league side like you, Reading, and then I'd be celebrating John O'Shea transfers. But it's not just me who said it. It's colleagues who support rival clubs and says we think you're going to be the closest challengers to City's crown again this year.
It's really difficult to say this without laughing. Is it your year in Liverpool?
Who knows?
I have to ask the question. Okay, what about United, Chelsea, Spurs, or Arsenal? Do any of them have a shot?
United have only bought Fred and Diego Dallo, and it depends how the rest of the transfer window goes for them, which I believe
it seems to me.
Have we now got 13 days left of the transfer window, by the way?
Something like it's around 2 weeks. Yes.
Yeah, it's the Thursday before the.
Yeah, so I think it's 13 days left. Yeah.
13 days, right? If United do improve in the next 13 days, then who knows? Because at the moment, Fred and Diego Dallo not really going to improve on finishing. What were they? 19 points behind City last season. That's not going to.
The news articles coming out in the last few days seem to indicate that Mourinho's already given up on the title. The season's not even started. He doesn't want to discuss the title.
Fair enough. It's Mourinho mind games, so that, innit? So
it is probably all mind games. Yep. Looking further down, so a club that we discussed earlier is Chelsea. What do you think Chelsea will end up doing this season?
This is a tricky one because me and you, the other day, we were chatting about Chelsea and how poorly they've done in the transfer window so far, and how they've failed to. Are we 99.99999% certain Eden Hazard's going to leave the club? Can't hear you again. Can't hear you. This is awful. Your mouth's moving.
How can you tell Hazard's going to leave?
Because it's all over the papers. All I have to do now. Wait there a minute. I'll type in to Google Eden Hazard. There we go. Oh. Eden Hazard's move runs into complications.
Knew it. Sixth sense for these things.
Staying.
I mean, the likelihood is that Hazard is going to leave. Have Chelsea pre-planned for this? Probably. The more pressing concern I feel for Chelsea is going to be, what happens if Willian leaves? What happens if Courtois leaves? What happens if Gary Cahill continues to fall off a cliff in terms of his form? Like, Chelsea aren't getting any better.
Mm.
How are they going to improve? I can't see them finishing inside the top four. I mean, yeah, they've obviously got a shot of finishing inside the top four, but I could see Chelsea finishing outside the top six.
Yeah,
I feel like a team could come up and surprise them.
How do you feel about Tottenham? They've done nothing in the transfer window as of yet.
I believe Tottenham will go backwards this season. It's again, I don't understand the logic of a team trying to sit still in this transfer market. Liverpool have improved greatly.
Yeah.
City, whilst they haven't necessarily improved, are so far ahead of you already that they don't necessarily need to improve to finish above Tottenham again next season anyway. Yet Tottenham haven't gone out and signed. To be honest, I don't even know what Tottenham could do to realistically improve their team to become a title-winning team at the minute. Their squad is a very good squad. And for the calibre of players that they're likely to be able to go out and sign, it doesn't seem like they're going to be able to pick up, I don't know, they're not going to be able to pick up a superstar. They're not going to be able to pick up a Ronaldo to help them win the league, are they?
No.
So who are they going to go out? Who are they going to go out and pick up, which can immediately affect their first team, 11? It seems. I think Tottenham are in a very difficult position in terms of trying to actually improve their first team.
They don't spend big on anybody. That's the issue with. It's Daniel Levy, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. He's very reluctant to go out and splash 70 million on a player.
Yeah. So that's probably going to be Tottenham's downfall. Yeah, they've produced a couple of kids over the last couple of years who have started coming through. Like Harry Winks is now starting to come through a little bit, but you can't really say that he's going to be first name on the team sheet. And
no, he's a good squad player for them, but he's not necessarily going to win them the Premier League, is he? So
I think Dele Alli has had his one season wonder. He was not as good last season, and I can only see him going backwards again. I think Dele Alli is massively overrated. Any thoughts on that?
I don't. Dele Alli, I don't think he's overrated. I just think he was not fit though at the end of last season. You could see at the World Cup he wasn't fit as well. And frankly, he's trying to play through this period of not being fit, and it's plainly obvious that he's not 100%.
Fair enough. Right, I'm just having a look on our odds checking website now. The odds on, or the lowest odds, should I say, on this exact top four finish of Manchester City first, Manchester United second, Liverpool third, Tottenham fourth. That is the bookies' favourite at 28-1. It's finish in that order. Right.
I would not touch that with a barge pole.
No, neither would I. But the odds, or the lowest odds that involve City not winning the league, involves Liverpool first, City second, Chelsea third, United fourth, and that's a 50-1 or 51.0.
I wouldn't touch that either.
No, I'm not going to touch it.
Wouldn't be back in that one
either. It's just interesting to have a quick
It's interesting to see that if Liverpool win the league, that Spurs for some reason would drop out of the top four. Chelsea would come in. The logic and I get how odds are put together, but the logic of how the people are betting and the prices doesn't make any sense to me.
No.
So, moving on away from the top end of the table, who is going to be getting relegated from the Premier League this season?
The two that came up with Wolves. So that's Cardiff.
So you think Fulham and Cardiff will both go?
Yeah, I think Fulham. That's
Fulham.
I
Fulham
think
may have the.
Definitely will.
I have not seen anybody who has tipped Cardiff to stay up yet.
No, if Neil Warnock stayed as well, didn't he?
Yeah, Neil Warnock has stayed, and he's openly admitted the fact that if he gets sacked in September, he isn't really that bothered.
Yeah, which is always what you want to hear from your manager going into a Premier League season, isn't it? I
can't really see Cardiff staying up. I don't think they've got that much quality. They played very well in the Championship last season because they were efficient. They didn't run away with the league. They didn't really beat teams that heavily that often. They just played a lot of teams close and were on the right side more often than not.
Yeah.
And Warnock is worth a lot of points to them. Don't get me wrong, he's worth a lot of points, but I just don't see Cardiff staying up at all. Going with them, I think Huddersfield today is probably done in the Premier League as well.
Yeah, that's fair, shout.
Their second half of the season last season was poor, and had they not had such an excellent start, they would have been relegated last season, no doubt about it. I think they were fortunate really to stay up last season.
I'm having second thoughts now about Fulham, you know. I think their main, even though they signed the likes of Jean-Michel Seri and Andre Schürrle, I think their biggest piece of business during this summer transfer window has been keeping hold of Ryan Sessegnon.
Yeah, Sessegnon is a massive talent. It seems likely he probably would have left Fulham had they not got promoted this year. So for them to get promoted and get another year of his development is fantastic news for Fulham.
Yeah. So if Fulham can repay the faith shown by Ryan back to him, then and stay up, have a really good season, and he'd probably go either way next summer.
You'd think so.
Because he's just too good not to be playing for a Tottenham or a Chelsea or a team around that.
Someone standard. In the top six. Yeah.
But so going down with them,
it seems like it could be one from about 9 clubs here.
It could. It
could. If you had to pick someone off the top of your head.
This is a question. Do you think Burnley might struggle with European competition as well?
Well, they played their first game tonight and they drew 1-1 against Aberdeen. They could be out in one more game, and then it won't matter anyway. Either way,
because
if they go through to the Europa League group stage, maybe they struggle a little bit. I kind of feel like Sean Dyche is probably going to have enough to keep them up anyway. And I think their squad is better than an 18th place finish.
Because we've seen the likes of Wigan and Portsmouth, even though they got to the continental competition in a different way that Burnley did, is seeing the two having to play.
They still struggled the season after.
Still struggled the season after that, and so that's what I'm sort of looking at there. But probably outsiders to go down with them, Burnley, but it's just a potential there. We can see, but it's going to be who has the worst start to the season, I think, because there's going to be a couple of teams who have a bad start, but I think Palace might go.
We're very different. We have very different opinions there on Palace. So talking of Palace, I actually think that Palace will be a top 10 side this year.
Hodgson saved them last season.
He did not save Palace. Palace finished in 11th place. They were only 3 points off the top half, and he came in after 6 games. They hadn't picked up a point. They hadn't scored a goal.
Saved.
If he's there for a full season, I fully expect them to finish in 10th or 9th place. Saved, yeah, okay. Maybe he saved them.
Okay, then if De Boer was still there come Christmas,
yeah, then Palace will probably be down.
There you go. Yeah. So Roy Hodgson saved them.
I would be surprised if Palace were in a relegation fight this year. The team that I would be looking at potentially as a relegation threatened team, for me, it would be Bournemouth. I don't really rate Bournemouth that much. Their players, like the players they've signed over the past couple of years, have been I'm not really sure which of their players have really succeeded in terms of transfers. They signed Jordan Ibe from Liverpool. What was that? £16 million.
It was.
And I don't think he played more than 10 or 15 games for Bournemouth. And I mean, I don't really think Bournemouth have made any signings which are huge payoffs. I wouldn't be particularly surprised if Bournemouth are in that kind of dogfight next season. Another team that we spoke about, Everton and their weird transfer business earlier on. If Everton start poorly, I think Everton could end up down in that relegation fight, because who's going to come in and save Everton this season? You had last season, you had Allardyce. He's done your saving. You can't bring Allardyce in again. He's not going to come back. There just isn't enough managers out there who can come in and save Everton if they start badly. I think they're priced up at about 40-1 for relegation.
Mm.
Whilst they are very unlikely to get relegated still, 40-1 seems just too long.
Yeah.
Who do you think may struggle more than the odds suggest?
Right, well, I'll go and have a look at the odds now. Why am I having issues with odds checker?
I am not sure, but let's. I mean, if we look at the bottom.
Okay. Leicester, they were poor last season. I'm not saying they're going to be relegated, but I could see.
Wouldn't surprise you to see them in the bottom half.
No, wouldn't surprise me to see them in a battle. Again, not a relegation battle, but probably above. Just
above it.
Just above it.
Yeah.
I think Everton are going to struggle because they're the bookies have them in 8th basically, and I think they'll be finishing a lot lower than 8th, probably bottom half. However,
£250 million to finish 8th.
£250 million.
To finish 8th. Come on.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a tricky one. I mean, Arsenal, they're not going to. New season, new manager, new players. Are they going to hit the ground running?
They're playing the right team in the first week. Man City is the best team to be. I get they're the champions, but they're probably the best team to be playing in that first week of the season, because so many of their players were at the World Cup and are still going to be on summer break.
Yeah.
You couldn't really ask for a better time to play Man City, I feel, than the first game of the season after a World Cup.
So, moving on to a different market. Bookies have got Harry Kane down as top goal scorer next year.
Would you back Harry Kane to be top goal scorer? I don't think so.
I think I'd lay that bet.
I would personally prefer to be backing someone at a little longer odds than Harry Kane. Mo Salah is second favourite. Do you really expect Salah to pick up 30 goals again for Liverpool?
Yes.
It seemed like last season. Well, there we go. Thank you. Moving on to Salah. I wouldn't be backing Salah to get 30 goals again. He might get 20. He might get 25. I just don't expect. Last season he was incredible and everything he touched turned to gold. Will he have the same season again?
Yes.
I think the goals will be more spread around in Liverpool. I mean, once you move down past those two, you've got Aubameyang at Arsenal, who is at 8.5. That's an interesting one. Lukaku at 11 is interesting, I feel, as well. United, I mean, obviously Sanchez is there, but Lukaku is going to score the vast majority of the goals, you feel. And then after that, if I was to pick an outsider, like a long shot, if you wanted to put a couple of pounds on it, I think I would probably be looking at somebody like Bobby Firmino at 50-1.
Or considering the amount we've slagged him off for the whole of the this episode, you can have Richarlison at 250-1.
That's longer odds than the following: Dominic Solanke, Daryl Murphy, Andy Carroll, Aaron Ramsey, Tom Ahmed, Glenn Murray, Dwight Gale, and Danny Ings. Danny Ings hasn't even played a Premier League game for 2 years, and he's shorter odds than Richarlison.
Brilliant. It's brilliant. So what I'm going to do now, and I'm going to be doing this every week, just so you know, Alex, this is something special for you, and I'll also keep a track of what you've said as well. I'm going to get up the fixtures for the weekend, and it'll be a quick fire. It'll be a quick
10
fire.
out of 10.
Right, let's do it. Let me see if I can actually find. Right, here we go.
Okay, here we go.
Right. United Leicester.
United.
Newcastle Tottenham.
Newcastle.
Bournemouth Cardiff.
Draw.
Fulham Crystal Palace.
Palace.
Huddersfield Chelsea.
Chelsea.
Watford Brighton.
Draw.
Wolves Everton.
Wolves.
And then going into Sunday's Super Sunday, we've got Liverpool West Ham.
Liverpool.
Just. Was that going to be?
Just.
Southampton Burnley.
That's our Super Sunday game for the first game of the season. Come on, Sky. Give us a break.
Apologies, that is not Super Sunday game. That could probably be... Oh no, it's not even on TV. The half-1 game is Liverpool West Ham. Southampton Burnley.
I imagine it might be because Burnley are in Europe.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes more sense.
You're going to see a lot of that this season.
Southampton Burnley.
And Arsenal City.
Southampton Burnley draw. Arsenal City. Arsenal.
Woo! That was fun. I've enjoyed that.
Oof. I don't want you to keep track of those.
Yeah, we will be. I'll be from next week's episode. There'll be a little ticker up in the top left-hand corner of this stream, just like
amount of results that Alex has managed to actually get right.
Yeah. Now,
great.
Should we probably talk about a little bit more where we're going to be going forward with this with these streams? We had a little bit of a mess around towards the end of last season with some podcasting with Alex.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, looking at the Football League mainly.
Looking at the Football League, we've decided we're going to move on to this year. We're going to be offering Premier League, Premier League betting tips, odds, and with the Premier League show. Towards the end of that show, we're going to be looking at the top divisions of other countries. So we're going to be having Serie A, La Liga, Bundesliga, and we'll have another show separate of the Football League, and that's going to be, well, all the Championship down to League 2. Plenty of betting discussion on that, plenty of odds, plenty of tips. And all of our tips come from model. I should say this now. Model-related algorithms. So, Alex, I'll let you talk a little bit more about the algorithms.
Fantastic. I get. Okay. I mean, I'm not going to go into too much detail because there's not really that much point. But it mainly, our models work in different ways, but most of them involve looking at prior results, similar to kind of how you would go about looking to try and place your bet on a Saturday normally, except the algorithms and the models will kind of do the work for you and come up with a price. We can take a look at it, decide if the price looks right, decide if the price looks like a piece of value there, go away, do a little bit of research into it. If the price is still good, we still like it, then we can have a bet on it.
And that's where that comes out onto these streams, isn't it? Those are the tips that we give.
Those are the tips, yep.
Yeah, and maybe at the end of those Football League episodes, we'll have Serie B, Spanish second division, German second division, Ligue 2, all that sort of stuff. So you've got
Eredivisie 2.
Eredivisie, yeah. So
all of the smaller leagues around Europe.
We'll see what we can do. We'll hopefully again in those episodes we'll have a ticker again in one of the top corners, Alex, saying sort of bets won and that, so you can sort of keep up. Yeah, in this one maybe, but that's where no, it's going to be in this one, because in this one it's going to be how many games has Alex predicted correctly in the Premier League.
I can't wait to see how long that stays 0 for.
Right, okay, that I'm going to call it a night there, because
I think that pretty much wraps it up. Yeah,
that does wrap it up, and this has been an hour and 26 minutes worth of wonderful, joyful experience with me and Alex.
If you sat through that, fair play to you. Good job. Big round of applause.
You're invited to the Christmas party. Right. Right, so we'll see you later on in the probably towards the beginning of next week, actually, because there's nothing on this weekend, and we can probably preview the championship.
Preview the Football League beginning next Friday.
Yep.
Reading versus Derby, first game.
I don't know what day we'll put it out on. I'm not going to be one of those people who go, we're going to get videos out every Wednesday, because it's not going to happen. I can guarantee you now, something will happen, or I'll be out, Alex will be out, we'll not be able to do it, and then people will be like, where's the Wednesday video? Where's the Wednesday video? It's like, so I'm not promising any of that, just promising 2 videos a week, 2 live streams a week.
1 video a week, maybe 2, depending on if we've managed to get time. You can't promise 2.
I can't promise 2. No, neither can you. Nobody can promise anything. Nobody in this life can promise anything.
Hopefully 2 videos a week, guys.
2.
Hopefully 2.
Minimum 1.
Minimum 1.
Right. So, I've been Jay. He's been Alex. It's been a pleasure. Good night.
See you soon, guys.